Do you all have the homage and praise to Shakyamuni Buddha? Usually when His Holiness the Dalai Lama begins a teaching, usually begins with our praise with this. We usually do it in Tibetan, but I thought you might appreciate it more if we did it in English. Okay? So we just read it together.
Homage and praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, to the Guru and Founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Siddhartha, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the foe of all, and be delivered from samsara's isolation, perturbed by the ways of aging, sickness, and death.
So I thought it proper to begin the class by first paying homage to the founder, or the one who turned the wheel of the Dharma on this planet for us. And to help us understand the Dharma, I thought we should make homage also to Manjushri, the embodiment of the wisdom of the Buddhas. And again, in English.
I prostrate
To you, holy Manjushri, my Lama and protector, whose intelligence, like a dazzling watch of sun, dissolves the clouds of ignorance and dissipates the two obscurations. The volumes of Scripture press close to your heart, bespeak your mind's unmatched knowledge on all things true and their extent. And your love for beings, like mothers for her only child, swells unseen as tormented by suffering and ignorance, as we grope our dim way into spirals of cyclic existences. I bow down to you, Lord Manjushri, discover the mental darkness, whose wisdom frees us from the iron shackles of our former bad deeds, and whose speech, a treasure of 60 pure qualities, like a dragon's roar, charges the groggy mind astonished from the sleep of mental affliction. You, the Lord, restore all to drive the dark of ignorance, and lay waste the roots of suffering. Reveal your pristine body with 112 marks adorned, ornaments of a Prince Bodhisattva, sure sign of attainment of the 10th Bhumi. Om Mahara Sadnati.
May the light of your love and wisdom
Banish forever the gloom of my mental stupor, and inspire me with quick intelligence and insight to penetrate profundity the Scriptures and their commentaries.
To begin with, I want to thank you all for coming here. And also, I have to tell you that although I am a monk within the Gelugpa tradition, I can't say that I'm going to be transmitting to you the tradition of debate. I only saw the debate ground only once. And when I was there, I had no idea what was going on. I went there the second year that Geshe Michael went to, after he received his Geshe degree, the following year, he went to Sera to study with his scripture teacher. And during that time, that's when I registered officially as a student of Sera Me in my house, Galwan House. And that same day, I had, the only thing I know about Tibetan is that it was a language. That same day, I went to my first class. I had no idea what was going on. And the following morning, I tried to do the monastic thing. So I went to the prayer early in the morning, and it was excruciating. It was, I don't know how long it was, but it was very long. Especially when you have no idea what they're saying. And for all those hours, I'm sitting on the concrete floor with just this thing under me. no cushion. And I had no idea how to sit on the floor. So it was painful just sitting there, and then I couldn't pass. I was feeling like passing out every moment. And then towards the end, the prayer was getting longer and longer and longer. And then my pain, I'm saying, I gotta get up, I gotta get out of here. I have no idea what they're saying. And then the crescendo of the chant got to be louder and louder and louder until it was like everyone was screaming at the top of their lungs. And then the prayer was over, and everybody just raced out to the debate ground. And then I'm waiting to see, okay, what am I supposed to do next? And then Geshe-la told me, you go out there. I said, okay, all right. So I went out there and I sat down and just looking at everybody, and then some monks came to me and I don't know, just probably asked me some debate question. And I just sat there and watched, and all I saw was chaos. But I saw people yelling at each other, slapping their hands, stomping their feet. And then there was this big guy with this very long shawl walking around, it seems like he was making sure everybody was behaving correctly. And to me, they were misbehaving already. And the monks were shoving each other, pushing each other, trying to be the one to ask the question. And when someone, if they felt that the person who was asking the question wasn't forceful enough or whatever, so they pushed them out of the way, and they're the one to ask the question. And when the defender was being stubborn, it seems like then everybody wanted to jump and be the one to attack them. So I just sat there watching everything, not understanding a word what was going on. And then when everything was over, I just got up and went to my room, and I never went to the debate ground again. And the following day, Geshe-la arranged for me to have a private sort of kind of a teaching with a debate master. He was very soft-spoken, and he didn't understand a word of English. I didn't understand a word of Tibetan. And here we are, he's teaching me. And the way he was teaching, I didn't need to understand Tibetan, because it was like he was saying, just repeat what I say. No, it was just going to the motions of a debate, and then I'm supposed to repeat after him, and I repeat it, and he would say something, and he would sort of motion me to repeat something. And that didn't last for too long, because I didn't stay for too long because my stomach couldn't handle staying too long, etc. at that time. So I left, and that was my history, my lineage of learning debate. I never saw the debate ground ever again. In my class right now, if I was still in India, right now we've just reached Uma, that middle way, Madhyamika. Okay. And just last year I met a classmate, and he's just brilliant, just beautiful to look at. In his understanding of scriptures and his confidence that he's gained through the debate ground. You can see that how he smashes people in the debate ground. And that's how I found it that we're doing Uma now. And for the past, I guess for the first 3 or 4 years, I would go to Sera and then see what my classmates are doing, and I would learn what they're doing. And every year when they do prayers, they collect some sort of like collect donations given by whoever sponsors or whatever, and they would collect my portion of the donation. And when I get there, they would give me all these pesos. I mean, all these rupees. Of course, I would. By the time you convert it to American money, and it was probably like $2 or $3 or something like that. So that's my connection with Sera in terms of debate, in terms of learning, actual debate experience on the debate ground. My other experience with debate is sitting in the room with Venerable Phuntsok, and he was teaching a debate. And he didn't really teach debate. He was really more teaching reasoning. He didn't go to the preliminaries of the debate, which is what this is mostly dealing with. And of course, this course that Geshe Michael taught, and I just listened to it and did it. And my other experience with debating is with my brother, my half, Tutin the monk, the walking smile. So as we were learning from Geshe Michael on twice a day, twice a week, and we would go to Howell to learn from Ken Rinpoche, and then we would stay in Howell, learn from Art Engel. So these were our teachers. And on the way to Howell for the hour and a half or 2 hours bus ride, we would debate. And of course, the debate would last and last from. It would seem like a simple question, simple thing. I don't have a clarity about. And I would ask him a question, and then he would give me an answer. I'm not satisfied with it, and I would question him on that, and then we'd go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then we end up, okay, it's time to get off the bus, and then we didn't really solve the question. And now, Tutin Jimba had the good fortune to actually have the monastic experience. He went to study in Dharamsala at the School of Dialectics, the school that His Holiness opened. And you hear that it's a school for Westerners. It's not a school for Westerners. It's a school where a lot of Westerners happens to go to, where it's an actual monastery with Tibetan studying, and it's not like a university where Westerners can go and then there are classes given in English. You have to learn Tibetan and then you can participate. So he participated in that, and he learned this, all three of these things. The textbook that we are supposed to be studying is Tseme Shungjun Jebe Dura Dang Lota Ki Namsha Viklam Tulki. That's the actual title I'm coming up. Tulki Demik, Tulki Demik. Viklam Tulki Demik. Okay? That's the title, that's the actual title of the text. And everything is just elaboration on what it's supposed to be. I don't know why, I think it's some sort of rule in Tibetan literature. When you're writing, your title must be long, or something like that. And then afterwards, when people talk about it, they can abbreviate it. Okay? The text is referred to as Yongzin Dura. Yongzin is referred to the author of the text. And Yongzin is actually just his title, because he was the tutor of the 13th Dalai Lama. He's referred to as Yongzin Jampa Rinpoche. His full name is Yongzin Purbuchok Losang Sulchin Jampa Gyatso. Purbuchok, he got that name because he came from that monastery. So he's the tutor who came from the monastery called Purbuchok. And Purbuchok was a little monastery very close to Sera in Lhasa. So you can say his actual name was Losang Sulchin Jampa Gyatso. And Yongzin Purbuchok is like his title. He's the tutor of the Dalai Lama who came from the monastery of Purbuchok, named Purbuchok. And he wrote this actually for the 13th Dalai Lama. This is the text. And it has 5 sections. The section called Dura, and it's actually, the actual word is Dura, and it became corrupted later, became Dura. Okay. It's called collected topics. And it's broken down into three sections, like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I think what's the name of that book? His name is Perdue, I think. Daniel Perdue, I think, translated just the small just the beginner section. That book that's about this thick. I think it's called Debate in Tibetan or Tibetan Debate, something like that. No one has seen that? Well, it's in the stores. It's a translation of the beginner section, and his book is, I mean, literally about this thick. Okay. So. So it took Jimba, I think, 1 year to study the 3 topics in here. There are 3 topics in here: Dura, Lorik, and Takrik. Dura is really like just introducing the motion, or just introducing you can say the science of debating. And then Takrik actually is the actual examination of the different aspects of an argument. Okay, what are the different parts of an argument, and what makes an argument correct, what makes it incorrect. And Lorik is a study of the different types of mind. Okay? And Takrik actually you could say, is a subsection of Lorik. Because the mind, it's the mind that does the reasoning. You study the different functions of the mind, and then you study reasoning itself. Okay? And this, in the title of this book, it's Tseme Shungdun Jebe. Tseme Shungdun Jebe. Tsema refers to pramana. And Shudun means the meaning of the scriptures related to Tsema. And Tsema is valid cognition, or the study of is perceptual theory. Geshe-ma could translate that. So this is a means to understand the scriptures on Tsema. See? So if you understand this, then you can understand the more abstruse reasonings that are presented in the scriptures on valid cognition. And the specific text that they're referring to is the text written by Dhammakirti, Master Dhammakirti. What was his years? Like around 650, something like that. Master Dhammakirti wrote a commentary to a text written by Master Dignaga. And the text that Master Dignaga wrote was called Valid Cognition. It was just called that, Valid Cognition. And Master Dhammakirti wrote a commentary to it, and he called it Commentary to Valid Cognition. Okay. So when the Tibetans are referring to Tsema, they're really referring to Dhammakirti's work, which is a commentary to Dhammakirti's work. Dhammakirti lived at the time when the system of logic of Buddhists wasn't well established, wasn't written down, so to speak. I mean, there were debates going on all over the place, and the stakes of debate were very high, and the loser had to convert to the winner's side. So the study of debating, of reasoning, was a very big task at that time. There was the Indian school had their own form of presenting logic and reasoning, and Master Dignaga sort of took that as a foundation, and he expanded upon that, and he removed certain things and he added certain things, okay, to fit more the Buddhist worldview. So, to understand maybe later on, after, at the end of, remind me, at the end of the class, remind me to tell you what is it I didn't tell you not today. Okay. At the end of the class, I'll tell you, it's a surprise. Okay, so, Dignaga was not Master Dhammakirti's master, wasn't his teacher, wasn't his direct teacher. He was actually the teacher of his teacher. And his teacher actually didn't agree with Dignaga. And then he didn't agree with his teacher, and he would agree more with the teacher's teacher. Something like that. Okay. So he actually wrote the commentary to Dignaga because people didn't understand it. So he had to explain it for people who didn't understand it. And his teacher, I would say, give the appearance of not understanding it. Okay. So, back to Tenjimba. So Tenjimba learned all this in 1 year. Now, and this was the schedule. At 5 o'clock, you go for assembly. All the monks go and pray for about 2 hours. And they take a break, they have breakfast, and then they go and they debate for about 2 hours. And then they have a break, they have lunch, and then they go and study with their teacher for about 2 or 3 hours. And then they have a short break, and to record, to review, and then they go and debate again. Okay. So, and then that was for every day. And then there was 1 day out of the week it would be like a holiday, like a Sunday. Okay. So every day for 1 year, 3 hours a day, with for 6 days a week, it took him 1 year to finish this, and we're going to do it in 10 classes. In a lot of monasteries, they don't finish the entire book. Okay, and it takes them a year just to study Dura. And because the dialectic school is like it's for people who've already gone through mainstream schooling, and then it's like they've already reached college, not college, or high school or something. Then they enter the monastery, so they're already more mature than someone who enters the regular monastery, because people enter the regular monastery around the age of 8, and then they start studying this around the age of 12. Okay. So we're actually going to be studying what 12-year-olds are supposed to master. Okay. Now, in the beginning, all they do is that they are given something to memorize, and they go to the debate ground and really to review and to quiz each other on what they memorized. And they're not supposed to really try to quiz each other on understanding it. Okay? So that's the first, you can say the first purpose of debate. First purpose of debate is to quiz each other. You learn something, you memorize it, and you quiz each other just to see how well you retain it. Okay? And later on, then you're supposed to debate on your understanding of it. So now we get into why learn debate, why learn reason. Now this brings us to the two kinds of disciples. There's one who's called Wangtul Debe, Chedang. That means, Wangtul means someone of dull capacity. And by dull capacity, they don't mean like somebody who's dumb. Okay? This is only when you're comparing that person to somebody who's skillful. Okay? So compared to somebody of a sharper faculty, that person is dull. It doesn't mean that among human beings, this person is dull. Okay? Among human beings, this person has a very sharp faculty. Okay? But among those who are in the spiritual path, this person is dull. Okay? So, and this person follows the scripture or stays on the path due to faith. Okay? And this faith could be faith born from, the way the Buddha explains it, faith born from previous practice in previous lives. Because of virtue that they've accumulated in previous lives, and automatically they have this faith for the Dharma. They have this faith for the spiritual path. It's not born from any reasoning that they've done for this present life. Okay? From the previous life, they're propelled because of that kind of those work that they've done. Okay? And in that same category, because faith has different categories, there are those, among those, there are those, of course, there are those you can even break down into those of sharp faculties, faith, sharp faith, and dull faith. Okay, you can break down if you want. Okay, and we can break down even further if you want, but we're not going to do that. Okay. So there are those who have faith, and then the faith keeps them, but it's not the main, it's not the prime motivation for them to stay on the path. Okay. Then they seek to understand the force of their faith, the impulse of their faith. And this is the one that they call the one faculty. That's Wang Nun. Wang Nun. And Wang Nun Rikpe. And that means, Wang Nun means someone of sharp faculty. Okay. And Rikpa means because of reason. Okay. So someone who was presented with a path, they examine it according to right reason, and then because of their reason, then they're considered to be worthy to follow. Okay? Those are the two main types of disciples. Okay? So the one that is of faith, because it is something that is just ripening from past actions, you cannot depend on that faith, because it is just a ripening. I mean, sooner or later, if you don't nourish it, it's going to dissipate. It's going to go away. Okay? It's those kinds of practitioners that you meet who are very high strung in the beginning, and who are willing to give up everything for the Dharma. But sooner or later, it just dies down, and you don't nourish that initial faith with reasoning, and then and because of losing that impetus, then they drop out of the spiritual path. Okay? And because those who follow merely out of faith, because that is so fragile, so it is necessary to study, to have your motivation, or to have your reason for staying on the path based on reason, on sound reason, and sound logic. Okay? That is one reason for studying reason, for studying logic. And the text is called Rik Lam Truti Denik, right? Rik means reason, Lam means path of reason. And the way Geshe-la translated is, I guess, is if you understand, there is this idea that you might have the idea that it's the Gelugpas who started the idea of having geshes. It's the Gelugpas who started because they seem to be, it's the main learning tool for Gelugpa. Okay, it's the dialectic. Okay, you learn through reasoning. You learn through debate. That's how you're supposed to learn. When you sit down in the class like we're doing right now, you can fall asleep. It could be very boring. The teacher talks for about 3 hours. You're not supposed to ask any questions. And for 3 hours, you sit on the floor. You just listen. And as you listen, you're trying to memorize what he's saying, so you can run home, go to your room, so you can recall, so you can memorize it. And when you go to the debating ground, that's when you actually learn. That's when you actually learn the topic. Okay. Now, because you have your friend to bounce ideas off of. And through that, then the question that you would have asked the teacher gets answered maybe in the debate ground. Okay, so that's probably why there's no need to ask the teacher any question, because you're going to resolve it maybe in the debate ground. So among all those who go to the debate ground and start to learn the art of debate, not everyone actually ends up in the geshe. Ends up a geshe. And there are different categories of geshes. Doramba, Lingse, Tsokramba, and then the highest one is Haramba. Haramba, you can say, it's like a divine scholar. Okay? And out of every monastery, maybe 2 or 3 in a year will get Dharamba Geshe degree. And Dharamba, they say it's like a doctorate degree, but it's, I guess, the only way you make that comparison is because, well, we don't have any system to compare it with other than saying it's like a PhD degree. But just to get the Geshe itself, the shortest period of time to get the Geshe degree is 12 years. 12 years of study. And you begin, of course, the Geshe program with learning how to debate, learning reason. And then you move on to more subtle topics like perfection of wisdom, and then you get to pramana, valid cognition. You don't actually get to valid cognition, the actual study of it, until you've done some studies of perfection of wisdom. And the study of valid cognition is not like when you're studying perfection of wisdom, it's like you start, and then for about 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, depending on the monastery, you just stick with that. And then there are some breaks. You study valid cognition intermittently as you study other subjects. Some monasteries, the program is longer. Some monasteries, the program is shorter. And I think the School of Dialectics, I think they somehow shorten it to 10 years or 7 years. So you can understand the rigor of the dialectic school. And also because the people there are more mature, so they don't have to do certain things with them. So, to get to be a Dharamba Geshe, it's not that you memorize, it's not that you grasp the foundation of the science of the debate better than others, but you develop it into an art form. Like you're able to, and it has to do with listening carefully to what is being said, listening to the language that the argument is being presented to you, and being able to and quickly dissect it and see if there are, where the flaws are and where it is correct, where it is flawed. Okay. And because of that, I can understand why Geshe Michael translated Riklam instead of path of reasoning. He's called it the art of reasoning. Okay. So the art of reasoning. And Tul means magic. And De Mik means key. So the magic key. So the magic key for the art of reasoning. Okay. And what will it do for you? It will open the door to valid cognition. So by mastering the instructions that are in this book, you will be able to understand and appreciate the subject matter of valid cognition. Now, in the text, there are some other reasons presented as to why you should study reason. One of them is a quotation from a sutra by the Buddha, where the Buddha gave a story about how long, millions of eons ago, he was a monk, he lived in a monastery, and then there was a leader with a monastery who was Bodhisattva. He was a Bodhisattva monk, and he would do things which seems to be breaking vows. Okay. And not knowing what the other monk, not knowing what the other Bodhisattva monk was doing, all he saw was the monk breaking the rules. So he started to criticize him. And then he even brought formal charges against him. And because he criticized and brought formal charges against that monk, he was reborn in the hells. Okay. And the Buddha later says, that monk who was criticizing the other monk who was born in hell, that was me back then. Okay. So from my own experience, I'm telling you, don't pass judgment. Okay. And interestingly enough, that is the reason for studying reasoning. because you don't really know ultimately what your perception is being presented to you. And I think it was studied by my Western philosophy is not so good. Was it Plato? Who was it Plato or one of those Greek philosophers? Socrates, I think. Yeah, Socrates, who was talking about how you can't trust your senses. That idea about not trusting your senses. Okay. So almost along that same line, just because you're seeing something, that's not a reason for you to make an ultimate judgment. Okay. Now, when you hear that, automatically you might think that, if I see somebody doing something that is evidently wrong, that is telling me to not get involved, not to do anything. That is not what it is saying. Okay? If something is evidently wrong to you, and you're not crazy, you're not you didn't just come from the bar and then you're drunk or something like that. So you have your senses with you. So when you see that it is wrong, then you have to do something to stop it according to your capacity. But the thing is, do not pass ultimate judgment on the person. Or this person is an incarnation of evil, and this person must be killed, something like that. Okay? So do not pass ultimate judgment. Okay? And what does the Buddha say? The Buddha said, only me or someone like me can make judgment, can make final judgment. If you're not someone like me, you should not make final judgment, because if you do, you will fail. Am I supposed to be writing on the board or something? What? I mean, for the homework and stuff. Well.
Could you just spell the word?
Oh, okay.
Terms.
Okay.
Where is it in the homework?
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. I guess I'm sort of almost, that's good. We covered, we're up to the fourth question. Well, not quite. All right. Sema Namdren. That's the text that we are studying. Sema Namdren. Sema. Ta. Se. Okay. T-S-E-M-A. Sema. Namdrel. N-A-M-D-R-E-L. Actually, it's better for you that way, because if I wrote on the board, you wouldn't be able to read my handwriting. I can't even read my handwriting. Okay, it was written by Dharmakirti. His Tibetan name is Chökyi Dragpa. Okay, Chökyi Dragpa. And it's C-H-U-K-Y-I, Chökyi. Dragpa is D-R-A-K-P-A. And he has the title Lopen, master. Okay? Lopen means master. That's for Acharya. L-O-P-O-N. Anybody here taking this in Tibetan? Oh, sorry. Do you know Tibetan? Yeah. If I spell it in Tibetan for you? Okay. So Tema, you know how to spell it? Okay. So if you don't know the spelling of it, just tell me. I might not know it either, but we'll help you try. Okay. Sema Namdrel, and Dharmakirti was around 650 AD. Okay. That's the classical Indian text that is the basis for Yongdzin Puruchok's work. Okay. This is not Sema Namdrel. Okay. This is the commentary. Not really the commentary, but the work that will help you understand Sema Namdrel. This is the book that was written by Yongdzin Puruchok. Okay. Yongzen. This is the Yongzen Dura. And this is the one that is called Riklam Tulki De. Riklam Tulki De. Tulki De Mik. Okay. Riklam. R-I-K-L-A-M. Riklam means path of reasoning. Tul means magic. Demik means key. Okay. So that's the short, that's the abbreviation for the name of this text. Also, it's called the Yongzen Dura. Okay. The Dura written by the Yongzen. That tells you, I mean, this was written by the 13th Dalai Lama. I mean, it was written for the 13th Dalai Lama when 13th Dalai Lama was a little kid. Okay. Showing, pretending to be a little kid. So this is not the first Dura. Okay. The first Dura was written around the time of before the Gelupas were around. And actually, the system of geshes was invented by it was invented by the Sakyas. It was the Sakyas who started the system of debating. And the way it was done, it wasn't like it was more like scholars studying independently, and then they would gather in a monastery at a certain time of the year to show off what they know. And they had, and the different degrees were depending on how many topics were they, what was that scholar was able to expound expertly upon. Okay? So there was like 4 topics, 10 topics, and depending on how many topics. Okay? And the founder of the Gelupas, Rinpoche, he actually was among those many scholars who did that, visited many monasteries, expounding on, proving, debating on what he learned, and getting a geshe degree from the Sakyas. And also, the interesting thing about the 13th Dalai Lama, it was he who actually, the system of the geshes was somewhat chaotic. Okay, and people would get geshes just because they were old enough. Like if you were in the monastery for too long, say just give you a geshe degree, because if you have to learn anything, just give you the title geshe. And some people, bribed. So it wasn't, the system of scholasticism wasn't up to its highest standard. Even though it was sort of like formalized within the Gelupa by the 5th Dalai Lama, it was the 13th Dalai Lama who actually organized it, make it a very reputable system, and anyone who was not qualified were dismissed. And if you showed up for Larampa Geshe and you were not qualified, not only were you dismissed, you were fined. So if you didn't have money, you better make sure that you know your stuff. Okay. Well, okay. I don't know what they were fined, but somehow they were fined. Okay, so Riklam, to the magic key to the path of reasoning, or for the art of reasoning. How do you translate it? The key to the logic machine. Okay. I mean, there's no word there that means specifically machine, but this is more like a experiential, commentarial translation of it. The key to the logic machine. And it was written by Phuntsok Jampa Suchim Gyatso. Remember, Phuntsok is just the monastery that he came from. It's like saying John from Howard, John from Yale, or something like that. Okay. So that's the picture. Oh yeah, it's dates. Sorry. 1825, 1901. And you can tell I love dates. Okay. All right. Okay, the two two types of disciples. Okay? Wangtul Debe Jedang, W-A-N-G-T-U-L, Wangtul. Wangtul means dull power, dull faculty. And remember, it's not among human beings, okay? They said if you take all the human beings on the planet and these are the dumb ones. That's not what it means. Okay? Deba means faith. Jedang means to follow. Okay? So those who follow due to faith. Okay? And those who follow because of reasoning, they're called Wang Nun. Wang Nun Rik. Wang Nun means that's the high faculty or sharp faculty. Now, let me go back to finish. Wangtul Debe Jedang. Wangtul, W-A-N-G-T-U-L. Debe, D-E-P-A-Y. Jedang. I mean, should I spell this for you?
Yeah.
J-E-D-R-A-N-G. Jedang.
Can you say that again?
All of it or just the last one? Which one? The last one? The last one. Jedang? Okay. J-E-D-R-A-N-G. Wang Nun, W-A-N-G-N-U-N. Rikpe, R-I-K-P-A-Y. And then you have Jedang already. So these are the two kinds of people who enter the spiritual path or who are staying in the spiritual path. Now there's something that Sakya Pandita, the founder of the Sakya order, said about why to study the art of reason. I'll say what he said, and I'll talk a little bit about what he said. Okay. Oh boy, this one is long. Deta, D-E-T-A, Drupdang, D-R-U-P-D-A-N-G, Sunjin, S-U-N-G-I-N, well, sorry, I'm totally out of lineage, okay? I'm supposed to make you recite after me. It's been such a long time. Everybody repeat after me. Let's do just this one. Deta, Drupdang, Sunjin, Ki, Rikpe, Shuluk, Kangi, She, Keba, Teni, Zoba, Yi, Sangye, Kini, Temba, Zin. Okay, now we have the official lineage. Transfer to you. Okay, Deta is we spell that. Drupdang we spell. Sunjin we spell. Yi we spell. Now next to the second line, Rikpe. What was that? Did I miss something? Did I miss somebody? Continue.
The last one is G.
G. G-Y-I. G-Y-I. And I have to warn you, okay? I may mix my G with my J. Okay? So if it sounds funny and it's something to do with G and J, ask me, okay? And then I may have some sort of a dyslexia with that. Okay, Rikpe. R-I-K-P-A-Y. Shunluk. Should I tell you the? Yeah, okay. Shunluk. S-H-U-N-G-L-U-K. Kangi, Kang, J-A-N-J. Am I doing it now? Okay, G-A-N-G. Maybe I shouldn't have said it. No, G-G-I. She, S-H-A-Y. Okay. Keba, K-E-P-A. Deni, D-E-N-I. Zokba, D-Z-O-K-P-A. D-Z-O-K-P-A. Yi, Y-I. Sangye, S-A-N-G-G-Y-E. Ki, K-Y-I. Ni, N-I. Temba, T-E-N-P-A. Zin, D-Z-I-N. Okay. That's the quote from Sakya Pandita, Kunga Gyaltsen. Sakya Pandita, and again, that's not the name that he was given by his, either his the person who ordained him or by his mother. Okay, that's the title. It means the Pandit of Sakya. His name was Kunga Gyaltsen. And he was said to be an emanation of Manjushu. He was a master of Sanskrit, a master of almost the entire canon of the Buddha's teaching. Yeah, Tangyur and Kangyur. His date, 1182, 1251. So what's the meaning of that quotation? Okay. Deta means like that. Drup. Drup in this case would means to prove, okay? Prove something. And Sunjin in this case means to disprove. Rikpa means reason. And if I'm going too fast, just stop me. Shung Luk. Shung means the scriptures. Luk means the tradition. Okay, so the scriptural tradition of reasoning. Rikpe Shung Luk. Kangi means somebody, she, understand or knows. Okay? Kepa is the word that means scholar. And the way Geshe-la translates here, it means master, like a master of a craft. De means this scholar or this master. Zopa. Zopa means complete. Zopa yi Sangye. Sangye means Buddha. So complete Buddha, completely enlightened Buddha. Temba means teaching. Sangye ki ni tenpa means the teaching of the Buddha. Zin means hold or to protect. And the way Geshe-la translates it, now you have the words for word translation, and now when you actually translate it into a different language, and some words have to be included or excluded. Okay. So suppose, there's no word here that means suppose, so maybe that's when he's twisted like that, because I guess in English you don't say like that all the time. Okay. Suppose a person comes to understand, that's kangishe. The scriptural tradition, that shunluk, for how to reason. There isn't a word here that means how to. It's just rikpa, reason. So you have to put it in there because it won't make sense. Okay? So the scriptural tradition for how to reason, the art of proving or disproving things. And there isn't a word here that means art. Okay? So it's just prove or disprove. Okay? And that's the druk dang sun jin. Prove or disprove. A master like this, that's Keba Deni, is a person who keeps the teachings, and a person who keeps all that has to do with the Zinba. And there isn't an extra word that means person there. It's not added, but you have to put it in English for it to flow nicely. Okay? So a person who keeps, that's the teachings, that Tenpa Zimba, of the totally enlightened Buddhas, that Dzogpai Sangye, and safe in the world. These words are not in the Tibetan. This is commentarial to give you the understanding of what is in the mind of the Tibetan when they read this. So what Satya Pandita is saying, who is a better fit person? From whom can you rely on to keep the Dharma in the world? You say it is a person who understands, who knows the system of reason. Now the Buddha didn't really teach something called the art of reason. Okay? It's not among the topics that the Buddha talked about. But when you read some of the sutras, you can see the Buddha, the entire sutra is been given in the form of dialectic. He asks a question, the disciple answers the question, and then he questions that question, and then the disciple gives an answer, and then it goes back and forth, like that. And the Buddha presents many of the ideas of the Dharma with reason. Like in the Shurangama Sutra, is it Shurangama Sutra? The Shurangama Sutra, the Shurangama Sutra means going forth like a hero. Going forth like a hero. Okay? In that sutra, the Buddha asked, there's a point where the Buddha is asking Ananda, where's your mind? Show me your mind. And Ananda is saying, well, I guess it's in my head. And the Buddha said, if it's in your head, then this would follow. And we'll say, okay, I guess if this would follow, then I guess my mind is in my eye. Because I see things. And we say, well, if it's in your eye, then this would follow. So this is sort of like give you an example of how, even though the Buddha didn't give like a formal teaching on this is how you reason, but he delivered his discourses in a dialectic way. Okay? And what Master Dignanga did, he actually took an overview of those things and sort of extracted from them what makes a good reason a good reason. Okay? Now, this is the thing I wanted to say here. I'll propose that everything that you do it for a reason. Would you disagree with that? Now, it may be a wrong reason, but it's a reason. Okay? But whatever we do, we actually reason. It's done out of a reason. Okay? And you can say, although we are seeking enlightenment, we are in the depth of our hearts, in the depth of our being, we are seeking nirvana. Everything we do, the reason for doing it is to get to nirvana. And the reason that we're not getting to nirvana is because there's something wrong with our reason. Okay? So whether you want to study the art of reasoning or not, you're doing it automatically anyway. Why? Because you have a mind. And what kind of a mind you have? You have a mind in a human being, in a human birth. Okay? So you're stuck with reasoning all the time. Everything, whenever you do something, why do you get out of bed? You have a reason. Why do you go to that job that you go to? You have a reason. Even though you hate that job, still you go to it because you have a reason. Okay. And even the things that we do that we don't want to do, we find ourselves compelled to do. There's a reason why we do them. Okay. Like for example, you may have a habit that you want to get, that you don't want to continue with anymore. Whatever that may be. But for some reason, you find yourself compelled to do it. Why is that? And when you understand the art of reasoning, and you can say the art of reasoning is the art of reasoning correctly, of understanding what makes a reason incorrect. Okay? Because if you I will add to my proposal that you think your reason is correct. You do not do something out of a wrong reason. I mean, in your own consciousness. It's not that you reason something and then you come up with a wrong reason. And you say, "Oh, that's a wrong reason," and then you do it. Okay. In your mind, you think it's a right reason. You think it's a correct reason. You're wrong, maybe, but in your mind, you think you're correct. Okay. So, it's a natural. It's your nature to do things out of correct reasons. Since it's already your nature to act out of correct reasoning, so you have to know exactly what makes a reason correct, really correct, so that your actions will continue to be more out of correct reasoning, and instead of ending with this mess that we call samsara, you end up with nirvana. Okay. It's not that you thought in your mind, you look at nirvana, and you look at samsara, and you reason in your mind, and you say, I take samsara. No, you actually, in your mind, you're pointing to nirvana. In your mind, in our own reasoning, we think we are pointing to nirvana. That's why we act. That's why we do what we do. And even someone who is by social, I would say by in the world, commonly understood to say this person is acting wrongly. In the world, everyone sort of in a common way say, "Oh, that action is wrong," and that person does that action anyway. Now, do you think that person does that action because the person thinks, I am wrong and I'm going to act that way anyway? In that person's mind, that person is convinced at some level, and unfortunately, most of our reasoning is done at a subconscious level. there's something, you said that the reasoning was already done already, the arguments were set, and you came up with your own conclusion already, and it's in the back of your mind, it's motivating you to act. And when you pick up the cigarette, not because you say, I would love some lung cancer. When you pick up the glass of, I don't know, vodka, or I don't know, what's the, whatever it is, you don't say, I would love to have a nice little cancer of the lungs, of the kidneys or something like that. That's not the reason you do it. The reason is there's nirvana in there. You don't say there's nirvana, and the reason that you're propelled to do it, the reason that you cannot help but to do it, is because you're, at some level, you're convinced there's nirvana in there. So you have to learn how to reason so you can undermine this bad reason that you make. Okay. And what's the worst reason that we came up with? Everything is self-existent. Okay. I mean, it's not like you're going around saying, that's self-existent, that's self-existent. No, it's already, the reason is already been done already, and the conclusion is drawn already. Everything is self-existent, and you're acting out of that. Okay. And you're not saying things are self-existent because you somehow are somehow demented, and you love holding on to wrong reasons. You love to hold on to perverted reasons. Okay. You believe in your mind that is correct. So ignorance is not really ignorance in the sense that, stupid. Okay. We actually believe that it's an intellectual, it's a smart conclusion that things are self-existent. And the only way to undermine this reason is with another reason. A reason that the mind sees as being correct. And the reason that so far we haven't, when you hear, okay, things are not self-existent. Okay, how come you didn't reach nirvana yet? I just told you, things are not self-existent. Things are empty. There you go. Things are empty. How many people here have reached nirvana by reading that? So why? Because deep within us, we are convinced, we haven't undermined that conviction that things are self-existent. So, Yongzin Phuntsok, he was referred to as Yongzin Jambariwich. He was, when he wrote this, when you actually go to the first page of this, okay. Can I go to the first page of this? Yeah? Go to the first page. Yeah. He gives a nice introduction, he prostrates to his Lama, who is inseparable with Manjushri, and then he, in a very brief way, he pays homage to Master Dignaga and Master Dhammakirti and the rest. That's how he says. And he says here, I'm going to talk about the path of reasoning, which is a door it means to open the door to reasoning, and I will explain it in three sections. Okay. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Right? And then in the first one, when he's starting the beginner, what does he say? He says, Gak Shak Pong Sun. Gak Shak Pong Sun. Gak is usually begin with a wrong understanding. Okay? Something to be refuted. Okay? Shak is when you present your own understanding. That's what is called the Ram Luk, our system. Okay? Pong is whatever objections is dismissing objections to our own presentation. Okay? So all of them are like this. Gak Shak Pong Su. And he didn't even explain what Gak was. I mean, this is a 12-year-old, right? A 12-year-old And he's learning how to reason, and you say, the first thing you say is, Gak Shak Pung. These three things. The first thing means the Gak, right? Kachik Nare. Somebody says, suppose somebody says, Kado Yina, Mapo Yimbe, Kado Mapo Yimbe Kya, Ser. Okay? Kado Yina means, if it is color, Marpo Yimbe Kya means it must be white. That's how the text begins. Now, if you're a 12-year-old, of course you see that there's something wrong with that. You may not know exactly how, you may not be able to elucidate how it is wrong, but in your mind you already know that it's wrong. So, Yongzin Bubuchok begins with what is obviously wrong. Okay? And in this, you take that same format and you apply it to everything. And later on, it just actually analyzes different kinds of reasons. What makes a reason correct? What makes a reason incorrect? What are different kinds what are different elements that makes a reason incorrect? What are the different elements that makes a reason correct? Okay? So let's do this. Well, should I don't want you to not have your homework. Okay, let's hurry up and get rid of this thing and then go to the debate. All right. Okay, I mentioned that already. Okay, the second reason why you should for studying reasoning, the art of reasoning. Okay? I mentioned my own already. It's one that the Buddha said after he made that story. Okay? Say, Nam, you ready? Nam, Na, Tang Ka We, Kansaki, Su Sungi, Kansaki, Sumi Sunte, Nyambar, Yutare. Okay. Nam is Nga. You have to have a apostrophe and then am. Naam. Dang is D-A-N-G. We're going to meet with that word a lot of time. Dang. It means end. Okay. Dawe, D-R-A-W-E. Kansak is G-A-N-G-S-A-K. Did I do it correctly this time? G-A-N-G-S-A-K. Gi, we had that before, is G-I. Tsu, okay, it's pronounced tsu, but if you spell it T-S-U, I mean, how do you spell in English? That's in English?
Well, it's like that.
Yeah, borrowed. Yeah, if you want to spell that way, spell that way. And those who are marking the test, marking the test graders, the homework graders, if it's spelled with T-S-O umlaut, that's okay, okay? That's allowed. Sung, Z-U-N-G, Gi, G-I. And just a little side thing. Remember my first debate teacher? I was in his room and he was repeating this to me. And I would recite. What did you say? It's like 1 hour just repeating this thing. And I have no idea what it was from. Okay. Where are we now? We just said Sungi. Sungi, right? Okay. Kansak again. Kansak. You spelled it already. Go back a few words. Gi, G-Y-I, and then Kansak again. Kansak Gi, G-I. Tsu, T-S-U. Misung, M-I-S-U-N-G. Te, T-E. Nyampar, N-Y-A-M-P-A-R. Gyur, G-Y-U-R. Tare, T-A-R-E. That's the quotation from the Buddha. It means only I or someone like me. Na na, that's what that means. Na means I. Na means me or I or I. Dang da means like me, like. So na dang da we. That means I or someone like me is able to judge another. Tsu sung de, tsu sung gi. Kansa means person. Okay. Kansa gi tsu sung de means to judge someone. It means to measure someone. Tsu means to measure, to hold the measure of someone. In the sense of knowing ultimately what is their ultimate motivation, and ultimately knowing what level they are. Okay? Is he a bodhisattva? Is he already a Buddha? Is he an arhat? If you're not able to dive into their mind, dive into their beings, and be able to measure them, then you can't really know who they are. And they may behave in ways that are against the rules. Of course, you have to, for your own sake, you have to say something. But you shouldn't make an ultimate judgment. At the time of the Buddha, there was a monk, disciple of the Buddha, who was complaining to the Buddha about an arhat who was eating at night. Okay? Because back then, it was very strict. You wake up in the morning, you do your meditation, you wash, and you walk, until you get to somebody's house, and then they give you food, and you return to a gathering, and you share what you got. So if you got somebody didn't get anything, they were able to share with somebody who had a lot. Okay. So there was this arhat who would go at night and get food. And then one of the monks started to complain to the Buddha. He said, this monk is breaking the rule. And the Buddha said, when I give you the rule, it wasn't for you to be watching someone else. It was for you to follow. Okay? So, mind your own business in our term. So because you cannot judge exactly at what level someone is. He's already an arhat, he's reached nirvana. He has no attachment to food. There's no lesson for him to be learned to eating at night. Okay? He doesn't need to meditate anymore. He's already there. Okay? So that's something like that. Okay. All right. So so only I or someone like me can measure or can judge someone. Kansagi means someone like a regular ojo like us. Kansagi. So by a person who's not like me, like the Buddha, to someone else, ce misungde should not judge. Ce misungde. The mi means the mi makes it negative. Okay. Ce misungde. And nyampa means to damage, I guess the gyur means to become, so it will become damage. Become damage means your measure will become damage. Your measuring will become damage. Your judgment will be that. So you translate it here to means you will fail. Should I translate it as fall or fail? Fall. Okay. Only I or someone like me is able to judge another person. No other person should ever judge another, for they will surely fall. All right, good. Now we get into the little debate. All right. Now the first thing, the 12-year-old, what he learns is he just memorizes. Okay. He memorizes debate. And he goes to the debate ground and just repeats it, so he can get the hang of it. And then later on, you're little bit by little bit, you're given definitions. And you're supposed to go to the debate ground and just quiz each other on the definition. And it starts like, oh, you can't tell me the definition of reason. And you say, I don't, of course not, I can't. And you say, oh, you mean you can tell me the definition of reason? Say, yes, I can. Why? Because it doesn't fit here. Like the O with the umlaut, you can use it here, okay? And the way it's spelled here is K-U-P-A. Okay. So taksukurba, that's the definition of reason. To put forth as a reason. Tak, again, is T-A-K. Ki, K-Y-I. Tsenyi is T-S-E-N-N-Y-I. Tsenyi means definition. Okay. Definition of a reason, anything put forth as a reason. Okay. We have a little time? Okay, we have time. Let's go to this one. Okay. Well, let me now now we're out in the debate ground, and I'm quizzing you. Okay. You can't tell me the definition of a reason. What do you say? What was that? You can't tell me the definition of a reason.
How do you say it in Tibetan?
Oh, taman. Taman. You want to say it Tibetan? Okay, go ahead, say it Tibetan. If I say sharp, taman. 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 Okay. You can't tell me the definition of a reason.
Taman.
You can tell me that you can tell me the definition of a reason? Duh. Yeah, of course, yeah. I can tell you the definition of a reason. You just told me. Okay, if you can tell me the definition of a reason, show me the definition of a reason. Now you have to be very fast now. You just told me you can tell me the definition. You better tell me the definition when I say tell me, okay? Or you're going to have an entire monastery saying, Doche! And I think that was the reason I stayed away from the debating group. I didn't want to have it's going to be like, it's like the entire monastery saying, Doche, Doche, Doche to me, all over. Okay, so, you want to try it again?
Yeah.
Okay. You can tell me the definition of reason. Taman. You mean you can tell me the definition of a reason? No. Well, tell me the definition. And that's a long way, okay? Taksukuba takitseni. You can all just say taksukuba chuchen. If you want to be fancy, taksukuba chuchen. Taksukuba chuchen. You're gonna be fancy, right? Taksukuba chuchen. Chuchen means consider taksukuba. Take that. Take taksukuba. Okay. All right, let's try it again with a fancy word. You can't tell me the definition of a reason. You mean you can tell me the definition of a reason? No. Well, tell me. All right, now let's get into more difficult debates. Okay. the very first debate that you learned in the Yongdin Buddha. Kado yena. Kado yena means if it is color, marpo yinbe kya. Marpo means red. Yinbe kya means it must be. Okay, so kado yena, if it is a color, it must be red. Marpo yinbe kya. Marpo yinbe kya. And these are the things that when you're starting to learn to debate, you have to learn to catch what are the different parts that are being presented to you. Kado yena, marpo yinbe kya. Okay, there's something that comes close to the cab, and there's something that is being presented. Marpo yena, kado yena, marpo yinbe kya. If it is color, it must be red. Okay? And what do you say to that? Yeah, okay. And then I would say, are you telling me if it is color, it is not red? Okay, give me an example. An example that is given here is Chudung Kabu Kadok Chuchen. Okay? Chudung means religious conch. I don't know what they call it. I mean, the word means religious conch. It's the conch. Kabo means white. Kadok means color. Chuchen means take that. Okay? Take the color of a white religious conch. Okay? Are you telling me that it is red? And that's how you would say it. Okay? Chudung kabo kado chuchen. Marbo yimbatel. Marbo yimbatel. And the batel must be like sarcastic. Okay? It's like making fun of the person. Are you telling me that the color of a white religious conch shell is red? And what do you say? And I would say, kado yinbechir. It is a color. Now, if you disagree with the example I gave you, right? Chudung kado church. Marbo yimbatel. Are you telling me that it is red? And I say, because it's a color. If you were to disagree with that, what would you be disagreeing with? Remember the two sides.
All colors are red.
No, that's what we started with. If it's a color, it must be red. And then you responded, you're the smart one, you responded, and you say, consider a white conch shell. Religious conch shell. Are you telling me it's red? Because red is a color. So if you disagree if I disagree with that response, what in your response am I disagreeing with? Yeah, that it is a color. That what is a color? That white is a color. Okay, you're disagreeing with that. Okay? Okay? Do you get that? No? Okay. Kado yena, marbo yemeka. If it is a color, it must be red. Right? And then what do you propose? You propose something that is a kado, but it's not marbo. In this case, you say white. Right? So if you disagree, you're disagreeing that this is this. Okay? If it is this, it must be this. And I present something else that is this. So you're disagreeing that this is this. If you disagree. Do you get that? And actually it goes on with the person actually disagreeing. Okay? Jurung kaba kado chu chen, kado yimba tel, kado yimba chir. Okay? Jurung kaba kado chu chen. That's the example I gave, right? Of something which has a color and is not red, right? You see, let's consider that. Chudun kabu kado chuchen. Kapo yimbatel. Isn't it white? Chudu kapo kado danchi yimbechir. Now this is presenting something now it's getting a bit sophisticated. They're presenting something called dangchi, the same as. Okay? A white religious conch is the same as the white color. Because the white is attached to the religious conch, and then white is a color. Okay? And if you agree with all these things, you have to now make the conclusion that white it must be a color, therefore. Okay? See, if you're disagreeing with the example that okay, let's forget about a white religious conch. If it is a color, it must be red, right? And you say no. Consider a piece of paper. Consider a white piece of paper. Are you telling me it's red?
No.
Because it's a color. It's a color also.
So you have to establish that it's a color also.
Yeah.
Just because the word white is just palatable and dull.
So if the person doesn't agree that white is a color, then the person will disagree. So if you do not agree that the first thing being proposed to you equals the second thing, then you say you disagree. If you agree that the first thing being proposed to you equals to the second thing, then you say. If you agree, it must be that the first one equals the second one. If you disagree, in your mind, the first one does not equal the second one. Okay, all right, and that's the more of getting into the debate. Okay, more sophisticated form of debate. And the reason they use color is because it's very easy to get around color. Now, the motivation for going into debate. Now, because when you're debating, you're dealing with intellect, you're dealing with reasoning, it is very easy to develop pride, which is counterproductive to spiritual practice. And this is the reason why that people say reasoning is not a spiritual practice. Okay? Learning how to reason is not a spiritual practice, because all it makes you is you become prideful. And look at the debate courtyard, you see a bunch of people stumping their foot, hitting their hands, and they're arguing, and they're not really trying to get to the truth of something, they just want to be right. And when they learn this, they learn the tricks of it so they can hold a wrong position, and then because you can't really quite defend yourself, you can't really prove them wrong. Okay? And a lot of master debaters, the reason they became master debaters is because they were able to do that. Hold a wrong position, and then hold it in such a way that even experienced debaters could not prove them wrong. And Kenbuche Yusuf Suntajin was a master of that. That's how he became a Laramta Geshe. Okay. And there was actually the history of Rawang. I forget his name now. Well, he he was a Gelugpa monk around the time of Pabon Rinpoche. And he was a master debater. No one could defeat him. And no matter what silly thing he says, no one could defeat him. And even though he was such a master debater, he didn't go take the Geshe degree. He said, for Geshe degrees, he doesn't prove anything. Okay. And what he would do instead, he would be he was such a mischievous guy. He would go to the debate ground when someone is being tested for the Geshe, and he tests them. Okay. And you know, and you could say he was very good at getting people angry. It was to the point where he was like in that kind of a circle, it's like the best, what you call that, the best slinger, gunslinger? What's that? The fastest gun in the West. That's the fastest gun in the West kind of thing. So when you get a reputation of being a great debater, then people come from all over the place who think that they're the greatest debater to challenge you. And they would challenge him, and then he would say the most stupid thing, and they would not be able to prove it wrong. Okay. And actually, he was such a rascal. He was really the spirit of scholasticism, and like would not accept anything on face value. He debated even his own teacher, and his own teacher refused to call him by his own name because he thought he was so too crazy. He just called him the crazy one. He wrote prolifically, not only in Tibetan, but in English, in German, in Russian, in Sanskrit. I'm not talking about every kind of subject under the sun, engineering, travel guides, things like that. The reason I'm mentioning him also is because of the spirit of scholasticism. You will find when you read debate manuals, you will find that the debater now, when he gets to debating a point that some of his contemporaries talking about, and he would trash his contemporary. He would say like the most, he would say, is he a monk or is he the thing that they would come out of on the page, calling him like donkey ears and things like that. He must have been eating. He must have been eating when tsampa or something like that. When they were giving out, when they were explaining the Makyuti or something like that in his class, things like that. So it's just in the spirit of scholasticism, and even just recently, on a very very simple, very I would say very insignificant point, His Holiness the Dalai Lama was disagreeing in public with Jesongab. His Holiness the Dalai Lama was disagreeing on a very minor point with Jesongab. And guess what? His Holiness was wrong. But it was a very minor point. And you wonder, why is he even bringing it up? But it's the spirit of it, okay? Your mind is your ultimate teacher. Okay? Your ultimate teacher is your mind. Your ultimate teacher is your reason. You can go to this teaching and that teaching. If your own teacher in your mind, your reasoning, is not making things clear for you, it doesn't matter if you have if a Buddha comes and teaches you. Okay? Eventually, your own mind, your own reasoning has to present things to you, has to make, and out of that, because ultimately it's out of that you will act. Okay? Even if you say, I'm doing this because my teacher told me. Why are you doing it? Because you reason it's the good thing to do. You reason that I must do what my teacher tells me to do because it is the good thing for me to do. And later on, it might end up being that your teacher didn't really want you to do that. He really wants you to reason it out. But you can't really blame the teacher because eventually you move your body, you make yourself move through your own reason. Okay. So the way that I would like to conduct this class is in a very dialectic way. Okay. And I can tell you that I understand if you don't want to engage in debate, but the only way for you can spend hours going through this, memorizing it, until you actually put it into a dialectic way, dialectic form, where you actually engage in someone, going back and forth, you will not be able to get it. Okay? You will not get it. And at first, it's just doing the scales. Kado yena, mago yimbika, and tamaku. Okay? If it is color, it must be red. No. Consider this. Are we telling it is? And then you try to see how the different elements, what are ways that you're really disagreeing with, and how you present disagreement. Okay? So right now, what you have is a definition of reason. Okay, you can next time when we meet, you're not gonna say "Tatsukeba tagetseni." Only "Tatsukeba tagetseni" or "Tatsukeba chuchin." Okay, all right, and then we get into more debates. And I have to say that just to round this up, that you're gonna teach me debate, okay? Because I never, like I said, I didn't really go into a debate ground and got into that. Well, I had some other teachers who taught me debate, but it was really one-on-one, and you can't really learn debate that way one-on-one. It has to be where you have to be sharp in your mind, because you think that you think you might be wrong, and you're trying to not make yourself wrong. You try to remember what it was said. My other teachers, now Nanette, you don't know him, he's just a monk. Now Nanette, he taught me in Central Park. I forgot how many days we would go to Central Park and he would teach me debate. I'm very grateful to him. And the other monk who taught me debate was Tutenjimba. After he learned debate, the first thing I got him to do was teach me debate. And in my kitchen in Clinton, somewhere in Clinton Hill, he taught me debate. Okay, but still, it's not in the tradition of going to a debating ground, spending 4 hours sitting on a cold slab and hearing somebody shouting at you and trying to keep your concentration at the same time, because there are like a few hundred people shouting also. So next we meet Thursday. We meet Thursday, and we're gonna have some more definitions, some more things, and Saturday, that's when you're gonna exercise the debate. Okay. We are gonna meet at 3 joules, and I'm sure you all know where that is. I'll be the debate master. I don't have to say anything, but I can say anything. So we'll sort of start things up, so like in a formal way, so that you can get the hang of it, so that you can watch what it's supposed to be like, and then you practice it on your own. So you have how many questions here? 6 questions. So you have 6 questions to debate in terms of quizzing. You can't tell me it's not that and that. Yes, I can. Then you can tell me, you say you can tell me something? Yeah. Okay, tell me this and that, this and that, this and that. Okay? You can't tell me the name of the text that we are studying.
So will we be debating in English, or
Oh, my own experience is if you want to learn Tibetan, debating is the best way. Debating in Tibetan is the best way to learn it. And if you don't have the inclination to learn Tibetan, you're gonna be very frustrated. with the Tibetan. Do it in English, okay? Debating is not like it's not stuck. It's not something that only you can do only in Tibet. Do it in English. We just did it. You can't tell me the name of the book you're studying. What do you say?
Yes.
You mean you can tell me the name of the book you're studying?
Yes.
Well, tell me. This one. No.
Oh.
In English.
We're not studying Samanamja. Samanamja is the we would say is the root text.
Commentary.
No. Rik Lam Tuki Demik. Rik Lam Tuki Demik. Rik Lam Tuki Demik. Rik Lam Tuki Demik. Okay, you can tell me the name of the text you're studying. You jumped to it, didn't you? You can't tell me the name of the. You can't tell me the name of the text that we are studying.
Yes.
You mean you can tell me the name of the text that we're studying?
Yes.
Well, tell me.
Vikram
Sure, Chan. Okay.
If you're asking in English, wouldn't the response be more appropriate in English?
Yeah.
In the form of debate? I mean, when we start engaging in debate, if we're asking questions in English, the responses will be in English as well.
Yes, in English now as well.
Okay.
Just like we did now.
The first question would be no.
Yes, we could call it. Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
All right. So, when actually Rinpoche, my teacher, never actually taught debate in a formal class, like like a open class. The first time we tried it, it was like we Westerners are very interested in reason, right, in logic. So when we heard that Rinpoche, the master of logic and debate, was going to be teaching debate, there was like 100. The temple was filled with people, and after that's the first Sunday, right? And the second Sunday, half people showed up. And the next Sunday, half of that showed up. Until Rinpoche had to just abandon the project because and he went back to his room. The last went back to his room. Okay. It's just the way we understand. The way you understand debating, especially in the West, when in college debates and when the candidates for a real debate, it has nothing in comparison with how is it presented in here. Totally nothing in comparison. The other one is just answer questions. Okay. This one is examining an answer, examining it, okay, to see if it's correct. And that's the motivation. The motivation for debating. You just learned something. You just went to class. You learned something, and there's a point that you don't quite understand, and you're going to ask that question to your fellow debater, and through dialogue with him in the debate, you're gonna help each other get to know the answer. That should be the motivation. And of course, the ultimate motivation is to undermine that wrong conclusion we made about the true nature of reality and help ourselves see emptiness directly so we can get out of the cycle of suffering. All right?
Yes.